Hello, everyone. Welcome to your weekly Wednesday webinar with Squibbler. I'm Moxie. Today, we're going to be talking to our screenwriters and television writers about how to hook your viewers from page one. This is all about mastering your series pilot. So in this webinar, we're going to take a look at how to structure a pilot that delivers immediate satisfaction, and it's also going to plant seeds for future episodes. We'll take a look at how to create good character development that shows growth potential for a series. We'll take a look at the art of crafting endings of your pilot that provides some closure, but also irresistible forward momentum to keep your viewers wanting to keep watching. And we'll take a look at how to establish the tone and stakes and themes that's going to carry your series. Writing a pilot is really challenging and also rewarding. It's one of those difficult tasks a screenwriter can undertake. Unlike a standalone screenplay, your pilot has to accomplish two seemingly contradictory things. It should tell a complete, satisfying story, but it should also leave your audience desperate for more. Your pilot script is essentially your series job interview. It has to prove that your world, your characters, and storytelling approach can sustain not just 30 to 60 minutes, but potentially seasons of compelling television. Think of it as both a short story and an opening chapter of a novel. It has to succeed as both. So a pro tip as you start your journey on writing your pilot is to think of your pilot as a promise to your audience. Every choice you make is telling them what kind of journey that they're signing up for. The dual purpose here, we already started talking about this. It should be a standalone story. Writing a successful pilot is very challenging in this regard. It should function as a complete narrative experience. Even if there's never an episode 2, viewers should feel as if they've watched something meaningful and satisfying. There are some elements of a complete pilot to keep in mind. One is a central question, a clear one. What problem or challenge is driving this episode that's going to extend through another episode? What's the rising action? What complications do you have in your pilot that escalate tension and stakes? Is there a climactic element in your pilot? Where is the episode's central conflict, and when does it reach its peak? And the resolution. This is the central question of just this episode, just your pilot, that's getting answered. An example here would be from Breaking Bad, a television series. The episode, of course, in the pilot is, will Walt cook meth to save his family financially? And in the resolution just of this pilot, we find out that yes, he does cook meth with Jesse, and he narrowly escapes the law. With the series setup, here's the problem, though. By the end of this first episode, he's killed someone. Jesse knows his secret, and his brother-in-law, Hank, is investigating this crime. So the door is open, but the pilot's question about whether or not he will cook meth is answered. While resolving your pilot's immediate story, you're simultaneously establishing the engine that's going to power your entire series. So some things to keep in mind, the series launch elements are the world that you're creating. What makes this setting unique and worthy of exploration? One cool thing about Squibbler is you can set up those elements and continue to use them in all of your episodes for your series. Same with the ensemble. These are the recurring characters, and what are their dynamics? You can easily keep track of those with the elements in Squibbler. We also have a story Bible, free downloadable spreadsheet for you that you can customize for your series in the resources library on Discord. Just search for Series Bible. You also want to think about the status quo. What is the new normal after your pilot ends? With Breaking Bad, Walt has cooked meth. It's clear that Jesse is going to want to do this again. It's also clear that his brother-in-law is going to be investigating the crime. And then you also want to think about the promise you're offering your reader. What kinds of stories will future episodes tell? Your pilot should answer one question, one main question, while it's asking 3 new ones. So in other words, this question from Breaking Bad that's answered is, will Walt cook meth? He does. But now we have the question of, is he going to continue to cook meth? Will Jesse be a problem for him? And is Hank going to be a problem for him? Having these new questions in mind is going to create satisfaction for your readers, and it also creates forward momentum for your entire series. You might also want to think about using what's called the threading technique. This is a strategic plant that the writers do, and master screenwriters plant future storylines organically within the pilot's main action. These seeds feel natural in the moment, but they're going to pay off later. So you may even want to try to create some seeds as you plan for your series. Some examples here are from some popular TV series of threading techniques. For example, in The Sopranos, Tony's panic attacks are initially the main plot. And this introduces Dr. Melfi to the story as well, which is going to bring us to future storylines where he interacts with her. This pilot also hints at the childhood trauma that Tony is facing, and that is going to sustain the entire first season. In The Office, Jim and Pam's glance, you don't need any dialogue there. You can tell they're attracted to each other. It's going to establish a will they, won't they that sustains quite a few seasons of this series. For the series Stranger Things on Netflix, while searching for Will, which was the episode goal for the first season, we meet Eleven. We learn about the Upside Down, and we learn about the lab where Eleven was being held. These are all series foundations that are going to extend this series throughout all the seasons. There is a balancing act you want to aim for with the threading technique of resolution and anticipation. One thing you might want to consider is using the 3-tier system. Successful pilots typically juggle 3 types of narrative threads, each with different resolution timelines, and we'll break these down for you. So in Tier 1, you have the episode story where there's a resolution. The main plot that drives this specific episode is from beginning to end, and this question that you've posed should be resolved by this episode's end. The other tier is the season arc, which advances your plot for the series. Larger questions or conflicts will play out over multiple episodes. The pilot should introduce these and take meaningful steps, but not resolve them, as with Tony Soprano going to meet with his therapist and focusing on his family trauma in his life. In Tier 3, you are going to establish the series mythology, the deepest questions and mysteries that might sustain the entire series. The pilot plants these seeds subtly, such as the mystery of where Eleven came from, what the underworld is, and what is going on in the lab that she came from. An example here is from the popular series Lost. In Tier 1, the question is, will the survivors find rescue? We find out no, that they don't at the first pilot, but they find hope because they find the transceiver. With Tier 2, we get this question about what's the deal with the polar bear and mysterious sounds that they hear. And this is going to take them through this one season arc. So this is planting those seeds for the season. And in Tier 3, the question is also planted, the series-long mystery question. Why were these specific people on this plane? So this first season, this first pilot here for this series is setting up all 3 of these questions successfully to sustain episode, season, and series altogether. So to create series-worthy characters, you want to think about the runway principle. Series characters need a runway, and this is space that they can grow, change, and surprise us across multiple episodes. But in your pilot, you have to establish who they are clearly enough that growth is going to be recognizable. So you want to show 3 dimensions to your characters immediately. Think about what they want, their immediate goal in this one pilot episode, what they need. This is a deeper thing that they're missing, and often they don't know it yet. And then think about what's in their way. What are their internal and external obstacles for their goals? I'm going to go back to this. I do want to point out we do have a character development webinar and free downloadable packet to help you with this as well on our Discord server in the resources library. One other thing to think about with your protagonist is the competence question. You want to decide early, is your protagonist competent or are they learning? Both of these work in the context of your pilot, but you want to think about which one you're aiming for. So here's the difference between the two. With a competent protagonist, you might think of something like The Mentalist or House. We watch how these protagonists solve problems, not if they can. So the growth is going to come from personal development, but not skill acquisition. If you have something like the learning protagonist, something like Ted Lasso or The Good Place, you have a protagonist that's out of their depth. We root for them to gain competence, and growth is both skills and character. With your supporting cast, these can't just be background characters. They should be effective in your story as well. So you need to introduce some of these in your pilot. Each one of your characters should serve the pilot story while hinting at future potential as well. We do have a checklist here for characters. Each character you include should have a clear function in the pilot's plot. They shouldn't just be there because you want them there. Each of your characters should have a distinct voice and perspective. We should understand their relationship to the protagonist. They should represent different aspects of your show's thematic concerns. Each one of your characters should have at least one memorable moment if they're on screen. And we should be able to imagine stories centered on them in future episodes. Another thing to consider as you're creating your characters are their wounds and wants. The best series characters carry unresolved wounds that take time to heal. So your pilot should reveal the wound without resolving it. An example here would be Mad Men's Don Draper. The pilot is going to reveal his identity theft. And we also learned the larger issue about him is his inability to be authentic, which is going to drive 7 series. In Fleabag, the protagonist's best friend's death and her own role in it is addressed in moments throughout the pilot, but it's not going to be resolved into the series finale. So it's a really good example of seeds being planted early that will sustain a whole season. Succession's Kendall Roy is another good example. He is desperate for his father's approval. We find this out immediately, but it's never truly resolved. So a pro tip here for characters is give each one of your characters a specific detail that makes them memorable. A quirk, a phrase, a relationship dynamic, specific beats generic every time. So something specific for each one of your characters is going to really resonate with your readers. Another thing your pilot needs to do is establish the stakes. Your pilot has to show us, the viewers, what matters in your world. What does the protagonist stand to lose? What does the protagonist stand to gain? Both of those stakes should feel both immediate and sustainable. There are a lot of different types of stakes. There could be personal stakes. What could your protagonist stand to lose or gain personally? It could be relational. What relationships are on the line? It could be professional. What's at risk in their work, mission, or purpose? It could be moral stakes. What ethical questions your series is going to explore? And it could be world stakes. In genre shows, what's at stake for the larger world? Tone is also extremely important in your pilot. We do have an additional webinar on tone. If you need to find that, it's on in our resources library on Discord. But tone is the promise you make about how you feel, how your series is going to make your audiences feel. You have to nail it in the pilot and then maintain it consistently. If you need an in-depth idea of how to develop tone, as I said, we do have a webinar for you on Discord. So here are some examples of tone done very well. Barry opens with a hit and then immediately subverts it with comedy. So the tone is darkly funny and violent. In the recent series, The Bear, you have a chaotic kitchen scene opening with overlapping dialogue and stress. So the tone is intense. It's got this kinetic realism in it. And Wednesday, the recent series as well, has a voiceover narration with macabre humor from the first frame of this series. And the tone is goth comedy, and that is maintained throughout the series as well. Your tone should be evident in the first 5 minutes, so within the first 4 to 5 pages of your episode, your pilot episode. If you're writing dark comedy, we should be laughing uncomfortably early. If you're writing prestigious drama, establish that seriousness immediately. We should be able to understand this and get brought into your writing from it immediately. So we're going to talk next about the perfect pilot ending. The ending is crucial in getting a series successful. It should deliver emotional resolution while it creates irresistible momentum for viewers or readers to want to get to the next episode. You might think about the 4-beat ending here. Beat 1 is the resolution, where you answer your episode's central question definitively. Beat 2 can be a consequence, show the immediate result of that resolution. Beat 3, what is the new normal? Establish what life is going to look like here. And beat 4 is the hook. You're introducing a new complication or question that's going to make us want to tune in to the second episode. So the example here, again, from Breaking Bad, the resolution at the end of the pilot is Walt has cooked meth and survived. The consequence, of course, is Crazy 8 and Emilio are dead or captured in the RV. The new normal is Walt returns home to his family seemingly unchanged. But the hook here and the next question is, Hank mentions that there is a gas mask found at the scene, so Walt's danger is not over. By your pilot's end, something fundamental must change in the world that you've created. Your protagonists can't simply return to their life unchanged. That would suggest there's no series. So there are types of change that you can include as you develop your pilot are knowledge. Your protagonist might know something they can't unknow now. It could be the status, their position in the world has shifted. It could be relationship-wise, key dynamics have transformed. It could be commitment. They've now made a choice they can't undo or reverse. Or they could have increased power. They've gained or lost something significant. One of the big questions in writing a pilot is whether or not to have a cliffhanger in your series. Both approaches can work depending on your series type, and we'll take a look at that. So in serialized shows with a cliffhanger approach, this is where you end with something shocking or imminent danger. This is going to be best for things like thrillers, mysteries, heavy serialized drama. The risk is that this can feel manipulative if overused. So if you want to look at what not to do in this, you could take a look at how soap operas end their ongoing stories every Friday. Those tend to be a little cliche. The other way you can work on a cliffhanger is a new equilibrium approach. This is good for episodic shows, and you end with stability, but a subtly changed to status quo. This is best for procedurals, comedies, character-driven drama, but the risk here could be that it might not create enough urgency for your viewers to want to tune in to episode 2. The emotional landing is one really good way to aim for your pilot. After all of the plot mechanics, you've plotted out what's going to happen, your landing, your ending should be emotional. We should feel something about what's happened to these characters. This is the moment when your viewers will turn off the TV and they'll talk to the people they've watched the show with to discuss what they've just watched. And it's not the plot. Usually it's about what the character is doing and how they've reacted. So we have a checklist for this as well. You want to think about things such as that we understand how the protagonist feels about what they've just been through in your pilot. There has to be a moment of reflection or reaction, not just plot from your protagonist. The ending image or the ending line is going to resonate with the pilot's themes and also the tone. We feel that we should know that we should feel that we know these characters better than we really do. And we should have an emotional tone that matches the promise you're making about your series. We should feel eager and not obligated to continue watching the series as well. The final image is also important. The last shot is crucial. It should encapsulate where we've been on this pilot journey and hint at where we're going next. So some examples here are in the pilot's final image, The Sopranos. Tony is alone with his thoughts in the pilot's end. He's shared them with a therapist for the first time. So we get this emotional connection of how difficult it is for him to go to therapy. From the pilot from Game of Thrones, Bran is being pushed from the window, and everything changes in that one moment. We know that these alliances between families and the plotting against each other is going to have a huge impact on the series. In Stranger Things, Eleven is in the Upside Down. She has confirmed that the supernatural is real, and she is the key to understanding and solving the issues of the Upside Down. So here's a practical approach to crafting those crucial final scenes. And we have negatives before the pages. So this is 10 pages before the end, 5 pages before the end. You want to build to your climax, the moment where your episode's central conflict is peaking. And then from the last 5 pages to the last 3 pages, resolve the immediate story. Give us the answer that we've been waiting for. From the third to the first page, from the end of your pilot, show the aftermath. How have things changed? What is the new normal for your protagonists? And on the final page, plant your hook for episode 2. It could be subtle or dramatic, depending on your series style. Here's another pro tip for you about the endings. The strongest pilot endings make us think, what happens next? Not because it's come up with this manufactured cliffhanger, but because we're genuinely invested in the character's journey. We want to know how they're going to respond to future challenges. So a key takeaway for this entire webinar, remember that the best pilot scripts don't try to set up everything that's going to happen in your series. They tell one great story that makes us want to spend more time in the world with those characters. So trust your story, respect your audience, and write the pilot that only you can write. We have reviewed how to structure a pilot that delivers immediate satisfaction and while it plants seeds or threads for future episodes. We've looked at some character development strategies that can help you develop show growth potential. We took a look at the art of crafting endings for your series pilot that will provide both closure and then irresistible forward momentum. That's a very difficult balance to strike. We've also taken a look at how to establish tone, stakes, and themes that will carry into your series. And again, if you need anything on tone and themes and character development, we do have additional packets that you can download and additional webinars to help you develop these in your series pilot. Thank you, as always, for joining me on this webinar on writing the series pilot. What are some of your favorite series? Let us know. We'll take your questions, or we'd love to see you discuss what it is that you're interested in, and we can continue this conversation on our Discord server. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.